Also, another thing that's really powerful too is the things that you say out loud about yourself are really powerful, dude. Just as powerful as the positive visions that you have.
If not more.
So, like, if you're telling yourself, just saying negative things about yourself, like, dude, you are training
You're
your
casting
brain.
that into the algorithm of the universe. It's like if you see a meme online, it says, "You suck," and you're sending that a heart every day. Multiple times a day, the algorithm's going to show you more of that meme, more of that content, more of that energy. Right?
Yes, that's a
You're gonna
really
have more
wild
examples.
way to think about it. Yeah, almost like the universe is a program of algorithms.
It is. Oh, it is.
When you see the palms facing up, it shows kindness and openness, and it's a universally accepted gesture.
From an evolutionary perspective, what this shows people is that you have nothing to hide. You are not trying to be smart.
Just to breathe and be. You show me your palms and now I have a deeper glimpse into the fractal you hold. Temporarily unfold our clenching desire to breathe.
Sweet. All right, let's drop in. Quick little grounding check-in. Just bring the attention back to the breath. Breath in the body. Giving that little monkey mind a little recess. Just noticing the natural pattern of inhale, exhale. Enjoying the gap of space before the exhale turns into an inhale. Feeling the fulfillment of a full breath before releasing. Imagining sending my energy to the core of the earth, energetically rooting down into the planet. Visually or emotionally feeling that tethered anchor down into the ground. And sending our energy in the opposite direction as well, up and through the heart space, through the throat, through the eyes, up and out of the crown, the top of our heads, extending into the ether, extending that antenna and framing all of it with some gratitude and feeling thankful to be here, safe, expressive, in good company. Just here to listen deeply and express thoroughly. Alrighty. Stephen's back in the nasty natty.
Back in the natty.
I remember when people used to call it that.
Oh,
I
it's
heard
nasty.
That. Yeah. Compared to where you're coming from, I'm sure.
I drove on the way here, and I was in my air conditioned car and I had my glasses on, and it was the first time I needed gas in Ohio. I get out of the car and my glasses were immediately just fogged up. I'm like,
Really?
oh, welcome to Cincy. It was so
Why would
humid.
that be? I don't get
I'm
it.
in this like super air conditioned car and I step outside. It's probably
Just the
90% humidity and like 90 degrees, and my glasses immediately fog up. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
Feels like the South out here, dude.
Yeah,
no
I
joke.
mean, it's basically becoming the South in some ways, yeah.
True.
But in other ways, like, I feel like it's getting, like, some hype around it, too. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, there's things,
have some momentum.
yeah, there's things going on, for sure. Cincinnati's cool, though, man. Like, yeah, tell me about it, though. Like, growing up here and then you're coming back, like, you've got a different perspective, you know. I've grounded in a bit. I'm like, you know, you remember me from childhood. Like, I was more so, like, trying to get out and, like, be explorative and, like, just really scratch that itch and, like, almost scared myself back home after being in Chicago and just like
quite opposite.
yeah, just like, okay, I'm not a city boy. Like, Cincinnati's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it has its charm. I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
times people ask like, what's it like? And you know, compared to other mountainous states, like it doesn't have necessarily the hiking of elevation and stuff, but there's so many parks. It's so green here.
Yeah,
It's really pretty. I mean, especially in the Winton Woods area, like I feel like we're surrounded by nature, and compared to
That's
like
true.
the big city, it feels very nice to be in
Yeah.
a green area like this.
I'd say especially like Anderson Township. You were just out there last
True,
night, right? Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's like still pretty natural out there.
I mean, for real, like California woods, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were looking for a house several years ago, we were driving around that area, and there's just like, I don't even remember what road it was, like maybe around 5 Mile or something, but just driving through there, I felt like I was in West Virginia, you know, just like literally like windy, mountainous sort of roads, hilly roads, and just got to forget that I was in Cincinnati for a minute. I was like, I liked being out there, man. Like,
Yeah.
Stanberry Park, California, Withrow.
Lots of
Woodland
nature to
Mounds.
explore.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
big
I know.
time,
I
yeah.
feel like that is one of the beauties of Cincy is there's a ton of different areas that you can
Yeah.
get into nature.
Absolutely.
Um,
That's why I ended up feeling more called to be in Cincy than Chicago, is because like when I was up there, dude, like you had to search
I was gonna say how
for
far
some trees.
How far are you going to like get submersed into nature?
Submersed
Yes, not
miles
Like
from
Uber
downtown.
ride,
Like if
subway.
you're paying, no, dude. I mean, I'm not as like familiar with the territory at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't been there in years, but when I was there, I had this one little neighborhood that I found that was my little sanctuary. And you say submersed, but it was not submersed. It was just like a row of houses and then down a little hill, and you find yourself on a little creek, I guess it was, you know, just in the middle of like the urban areas. Like, and I would walk up there and just collaborate with my little Bob Marley bowl that Christian gave me when we were
That's
that age.
hilarious.
Do you remember that thing? It's like this
No.
big purple, just had like a little Bob Marley. Just gave it to
Like
me
the
'cause
most cliche fucking pipes you could ever have.
but it was deep, and like, and I, you know me, I'm a one-hit wonder. Like, it was way more
Way
than I
bigger
needed,
than-
yeah. But I
That's
take
funny.
that out there and just like you get some swans and some ducks out on the water and whatever. That was a cute little spot. But as far as like actually being in a forest, I can't think of a single one. And I mean, Chicago has, you know, miles and miles of city life outside of the downtown, but then there's the suburbs are massive, and the suburbs I was in didn't seem like they really had a whole lot of
lot of concrete.
yeah concrete jungle for sure. Yeah, jungle. You know what I mean?
The Bob Marley
so I was just
reference.
like, dude, fucking Cincinnati. Like, I miss the parks. I miss nature. Like, it's just really. And I mean, on the subject, I mean, I've probably said this to you before, but you know, when I went to Chicago, like part of it was feeling not only like wanting to get away from home, but I remember working at Northgate Mall. I just like felt, and going to Roger Bacon for whatever reason, felt like the city was like kind of racist. Like it just felt like there was like
Chicago?
no, it's Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincy? I
Yeah.
could see that for sure.
Well, then going to Chicago, I was like, nah, Cincinnati's fine. Chicago's very segregated still to this day. And that was just such an off-putting thing. And
That's an interesting thought. Honestly, I mean, I feel similar having gone to Utah and then now living in Burlington. I'm grateful to have grown up in Cincinnati. Very
Yeah.
diverse, a lot of like different foods, a lot of like it's a bit of a melting pot,
I think
especially
so.
living downtown. Like
Yeah.
you see all different ways of life, so
Yeah.
that's like good to experience. Whereas
sure.
Burlington it's pretty white. Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that aspect of it was just like, I mean, Chicago is diverse in the sense that it has,
It's a melting pot.
I wouldn't call it the melting pot though, because like when you say that, I think of enmeshment. I think of like, there's a bit of you and me. There's a bit, you know what I mean? Like mixing together. And that's why I would use the word segregated, because it's like, it's got all the fingers of ethnicity, but they are very separate.
in
They
their
are
parts.
not like interlocked at all.
sad.
I don't want to say at all. That's not fair. But generally speaking, it's pretty well known.
Stick to their areas.
Yeah, it's an area thing, and just like there's not. That was my experience of it. I mean, that was years ago too, so I don't want to paint it in a
True.
negative light. But I mean, it's kind of well known. Chicago kind of has that reputation as well. I mean, it was. I don't know the history of it, but there was definitely like, racial decisions made as far as like zoning
The
and
red
things like
line
that,
thing?
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it, but anyway, enough of that. So that's part of what I love about Cincinnati. But I was just in Pittsburgh, man, and like,
Ooh.
Cincinnati being green, Pittsburgh is lush. Like, it's like Cincinnati, but like it's amplified a bit. Like, I used to figure that the two cities were like pretty similar size and vibe, because like here the Bengals have a rivalry with the Steelers. Do the Steelers even know the Bengals exist? Like, I kind of doubt it at this point, because it doesn't seem like it's that comparable of a city. Like, it's bigger. It is definitely a bigger city than Cincinnati, and but also hilly and just lush, man. They just got like it's
The nature out there is it's good.
yeah.
Nice.
Like in the urban areas as well, like a bit. Anyway, so yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to experience like other places and I don't know, just change your perspective on like ways of life and different environments and yeah, probably your experience in Chicago made you appreciate Cincinnati in a way before you if you've just been here your whole life have
Exactly.
never could experience.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at for sure. But I feel like now I'm at a phase of life of feeling perhaps called to a bit more exploration as well,
You
because
trying to do some traveling or what?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I entertain the idea of like potentially moving somewhere. I'm not clear, I think at this point it's probably just wanting to like see more places and just do the traveling to visit and then see what lands. But like, I've been a bit called towards Yellow Springs lately as well. But then I'm reminded, like, last time I was up there, I was speaking with someone that used to live there, and she was like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but like, you got to remember, it's a small town, and then I think of like even Northside and Cincy, like Northside is like Yellow Springs times like 3 or 5, like, you know what I mean? Just that one neighborhood, like Yellow Springs is tiny.
Yeah, I mean, is there a negative to that? What, it's just
Just
everybody?
that, just that everybody, and like that. She was sort of speaking maybe a little bit more about like the rural culture of it as well, of just like some of the typical drawbacks of a small town, just whatever that may be. I've never lived in a small town, so I can't readily like list off.
True.
But I don't know, just everyone knowing your shit, and like you were kind of speaking about even Burlington being like a small pool of people as well, and just things of that nature, So if something goes cross, you might have to leave town, or just deal with the awkwardness of whatever,
True.
If things don't, I don't know, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
But
that's so true.
anyway.
That is really funny. I mean, who knows what's going to make it in this podcast, but one of the funny things about...
Possibly nothing.
Yeah. One of the funny things about Burlington, I mean, I'm not in this situation, but friends have hooked up with people and like had relationships with other people. And yeah, you go out to a bar, there's a good chance, especially if you've been there for a while, you're going to run into people that you've had relationships with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. It can be tricky, but
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe more motivation to just be like really open and honest with people from the beginning, and like try and end things if you're gonna end things like in a friendly way, because you're gonna fucking see them.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
I mean, honestly, that's like a really good way of thinking about it. I was kind of on that same train as far as like, yeah, I mean, I was having a conversation with some last night too about like, I feel like the thing with relationship transitions is that a lot of times people enter relationships with a deep assumption and expectation of what a relationship is supposed to be, and sort of on the on the train of like, you find one good thing, you want to make it a good thing for forever, but like people die, and other things happen before we die, but like we know that we're not going to be holding hands as we cross the threshold between life and death, you know what I mean? So in some way, even if you find a partner that you are beautifully compatible with, and you both want to have a lifelong thing, like at some point one of the two are gonna have to learn to let go and learn how to live without the other partner,
whether that's death or incompatibility.
Right. So my point is that like I think in the new culture of learning to relate with people in more graceful ways is like going into partnerships, which could mean anything. It could be a creative partnership, it could be a business partnership, it could be a romantic partnership, going into it with not the expectation that we're gonna hold on to each other and you're not gonna, I'm gonna always be safe with you, right? Like you're never gonna leave me, right? More so like, okay, like life is fluid, the corny truth of the only thing that's forever is change, right? The only constant being change. And like having this more open-handed love, more open-handed connection where it's like, hey, let's dance together while it makes sense to dance. And then when it's time to let go, like gracefully just letting go without this like, oh, wow, my world just got rocked. And now I have to decide, like, am I capable of still connecting with you, or is it going to mess me up? Am I going to be able to put to rest any resentments that might have come up, or like hurts? Am I going to be able to digest them and still have space for you to be in my life or not, and like, yeah, we obviously have spent many conversations talking about this exact situation. And yeah, it's just how hurtful it is to lose people in our lives who like we love and care about and still want to be supportive of, and but part of that support is like honoring the space that's needed when it's needed as well. But my point is that like maybe we could avoid those things if we go into things with different sets of expectations, different sets of communication as well, as far as like our capacity and our desires and our vision as well. I mean, that's what's crucial, having shared vision with any partnership.
Do you think sometimes, let's say someone you want to be romantic with, you can, because of ulterior motives of maybe like, I really like this person, like their vision it sounds cool, it's not a vision I've necessarily ever had, but you're like, yeah, I could see myself molding my vision to what this person's vision is, because I really like this feeling of what's happening here. I've never really thought of having a farm and goats and stuff, but yeah, maybe I could do that. And that in some way you mold your idea of what you want to what that person wants, because you don't want to lose them, or you don't want maybe your misalignment in visions to cause separation. And certainly that has to happen.
I think it happens probably a lot. Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess the question is like, how far would you or I want to go into shifting our how at what point is a compromise a deal breaker? Is more so the question.
No one's visions is going to be completely aligned. Even if you both wanted a farm and goats, there will be something else in your visions of maybe location. Like, it's just like unrealistic to find someone that, there isn't going to be some compromise in terms of vision.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, I think that there are broad scale visions that are enough of a yes. You both want to, like in a creative partnership, like, what's the band? Are we trying to make a name for ourselves, or are we a hobby band and we're cool with just playing like little gigs here and there? Like, that's a crucial thing, a marriage. Like, are we having kids or not? Like, there's certain things that are like non-negotiable. You need to be on the same page, otherwise that's just going to crash at some point.
Totally.
Right? But what you're bringing up is like the collaborative nature of like, yeah, sometimes I want to spin the song in a way that like we go on a little journey and it ends up being a 7-minute long song, where this other person's like, well, actually I really like the beginning of the song. I really kind of want it just to be like a little dance number, you know what I mean? So okay, that type of thing, like, okay, how are we going to compromise on that? And
That's a deal. That's a doable compromise.
that's not a deal breaker.
No.
Right. So it's just then that's where the like clear communication comes in, as far as, and I don't know, I mean, that's something that everybody has to like navigate what that looks like for a particular dynamic, you know what I mean? So I don't think that like the idea of shifting our vision, or you said mold ourselves to someone else's vision, like I might want to find like a word that feels more healthy, right? Because like that sort of implies a bit of like I don't really want to do this, but I'm gonna, or like losing ourselves to other
I think
people.
that's kind of what I was getting at. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people will do that.
Right.
It's literally like, well, I don't want to lose this person, and I have something sweet, so I will shift my vision because fuck it. Like, I don't want to lose this person, so my vision of what I had thought doesn't matter.
Maybe it's not as important, or something
Maybe it's
like
not
that.
as important.
And what you're describing is like prioritizing the feeling of safety, the feeling of security with someone else, prioritizing that over our own vision, which like, again, I'm not pretending that I know what's right for other people. I just know all I can do is feel my own feelings and honor my own intuition, which is a huge topic that you and I have been exploring lately, and how freaking important it is to honor intuition. Otherwise it's gonna come back around like and zap you, because and like, you know, let's flip it on its head. Like, it's not I better do this. How cool is it that part of our being has access to knowing what's in alignment for us? Like, that's awesome. Like, let's clear out our bodies and our minds and stuff in a way that like we can listen, we can even hear it, you know what I mean? Like, I was talking to someone yesterday and they're talking about, you know, well, my gut's saying this, that, and that, and I'm just like, bro, I don't even know that my gut can reach my brain. Like, I think what I'm feeling is just indigestion. Like, just like, how can you, like, you have a clear enough gut to even trust it? I don't know. You know what I mean? And like the word gut makes me feel like instinct versus intuition. They feel like different intelligence centers. You know, like following your heart is like an emotional resonance. Like following your gut feels instinctual. Everybody that's ever met me knows that I'm just listening to my mind more often than not, which is a trap a lot of times, you know, because the mind is really only here to solve problems. It's not here to be the decision maker all the time, I feel, or to be the leader, I guess, to have the wheel of the internal.
It can be
self.
confusing when the gut is telling you something and you don't want to give something up because it feels good.
Exactly.
But you know that your gut's saying, hey, this isn't really, this isn't it.
So that's that internal battle that happens a lot of times that, yeah, I've been in, and I'm really glad that I don't feel like I'm currently in a battle with myself, or that I'm not honoring my intuition right now. If I dug deep enough, I probably could find some level of it that's maybe a micro misalignment or something that I'm ignoring for the time being. But also, you know, you gotta take space to like process the things and whatever. But bring me back. What was your main point with that?
I mean,
Following the gut. Just the rationalizing, that internal battle of like, okay, I'm feeling this nudge in this one direction or against this direction, but I'm rationalizing with my mind. Well, but I've got a good thing, and like I don't want to hurt people, and like I said I was
Maybe it
going to
could
show up to
work.
the event. You know, maybe, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe I just don't have enough information yet. And I'm not going to say that at times that can't be true, but like, I don't know. That's probably just my little mental gremlin coming in and trying to represent itself there, because like, if I'm being real, no, I think that it's even, because we're never going to have all the information. And I'm not saying that intuition is this like access to the Godhead, and that we have access to like, you know, knowing every step to take at all times, but like, I don't know, I've had the life experience to show that there was times that I had intuition and I ignored it, and it did not serve me. I mean, sure, it served me in growing and whatever else, you know. And sometimes things like,
I mean, what was the repercussion of not listening? It just gets a little bit more emotionally hard, and when things have to inevitably go the opposite way that you want, like what?
Potentially, but but now I'm questioning that as well, because like that initial thought is almost one of regret, and I don't really choose to live with regret. I choose to trust the way that things unfold. So I do feel like this was, in the case of what we're referring to with my life, that the ways that I didn't honor my intuition, like perhaps in some other way I was honoring an even deeper, harder to hear intuition, that like I had to go this far into a path in order to learn the lesson, and that perhaps like ripping something away would have been a more emotionally hard thing, and maybe the wisdom wasn't even set in enough to be able to, like, I guess to simplify, what I'm getting at is that I think that lessons present themselves in ways that they can be digested, and when they're not digested immediately, it's going to keep coming around. So, and like, how can we do something if we haven't had the experience points to develop a capacity to do that thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, even if I'm hearing this from my body, like, it takes energy in order to like act and to honor whatever it is that I'm feeling is proper, and if we don't like create that motivation or clarity, that's kind of it. Like, it takes time for things to get clear. We may have a little glimpse of intuition, but like sometimes it takes like more data for it to even like feel clear. So I don't know. Do you
feel like you get more clear by like talking about it out loud with friends too, and like hearing yourself talk about it and like gaining a perspective?
Yes. Yeah, we were just talking about that, the internal versus external processor, for sure. Yeah. I was saying that, like, I think for thoughts, because I'm such a mental person, otherwise I'm going to have these circular thoughts, which you've seen, they come out in conversation as well.
Oh, for sure.
But that's the benefit of it.
Because you hear yourself out loud.
And you hear me too, and you can call me out. And as well, what you said, I hear it, I'm like, okay, that's a loop, my bad. Yeah. But I can see it more clearly, like witness it and observe it, and then like maybe do something about it when it's outside of the little brain wheel, Because, my tendency to ruminate is strong.
I mean, do you ever write? Like journal and stuff too?
That's the other thing. I'm trying to get back into it for sure. Yeah. But I feel like that is a way of externalizing the process.
Especially if you don't have another homie.
Solo. Yeah.
Yes, solo.
Even if you do, man, because we've talked about this before too, we don't want to lean on each other in a way that's unhealthy. Like
always relying on Sean to be this, solving all my things. It's like, the answer. Sometimes you just need to write it out and like look at it and just be like, oh yeah, like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Selena about this too, about like, okay, at what point is it like overindulgence of leaning on our friends, which for the most part is a very healthy thing. And I think that you and I and the people that we tend to surround ourselves with are pretty conscientious, aware people. Like, I don't think that I can't think of too many like close relationships in my life that like anyone's needing too much or asking for too much, or that it's a drain. Do you know what I mean? Like when you and I talk, like it's
energizing,
mutually beneficial in that way. It's energizing for both of us. Yeah, and that's like the greenest of flags, is to like have a collaboration where it's like
clarity.
Yeah, and the chemistry that also leads to like, because not to get on a tangent, but we're speaking a bit about like the difference between chemistry and compatibility as well. And when you can find that magic brew of when it's a nice balance of both, because if it's over chemistry, but then we're ignoring the red flags of that there's actually not a whole lot of compatibility in the way that we work well together. We may energize each other in a certain aspect. It may feel really fun to be around this person, but it may not be functional. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah. I'm literally feel like, in a way, going through that.
Right. So to bring it back out of that tangent, speaking about like journaling and things like that, I was talking to Selena about when do we overdo it with our people. Basically, the idea that came through was like, actually, it might have been Lucas I was talking to. Who cares? It was like it's when you're saying the same thing over and over, and it's like, all right, dude, I've heard you say that 4 times. Like, now you need to break this loop. You know, that's when it's like,
Well, how do you break the
over.
loop?
Well,
Find a different thought, find a different feeling.
act on it. You know,
Act on it?
Act on it. And I know that's why I think of Lucas, because I know that there was a while that I was telling him the same thing over and over. And you know, Lucas is a great friend. He heard me
didn't
out.
act
He
on
was
it?
always supportive. You know, I think maybe at certain moments he might have indicated like, all right, man, you need to do something about this. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, you're saying the same thing week after week.
Clearly, your spirit is calling you to do something
Yeah,
still.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the talking about it isn't enough. Like, that's a step, but like action also needs to be taken. Whether
Agreed.
that action is external or just internal, as far as like, okay, I actually need to process on my own a bit more. Because that's what I was saying to you earlier, is like, I feel like I do process my thoughts better with people. But as far as feeling my feelings and actually processing grief and things of that nature, like that, I mostly find to be a solo space, an internal space.
Actually, this is an interesting thought, but we talk about processing all the time. Like, oh, yeah, I'm still processing something. What does, like, it look like for you when you say I'm processing? Are you asking yourself questions, like, to get to a deeper level of, like, well, where is this feeling coming from, or why am I feeling this? Like, what does it look like for you when you're processing? Are you just the thoughts flying? That doesn't seem productive. Like,
That's an amazing question, bro. For me, I think of processing as just the time that healing takes time. So I'm kind of passive about it, you know?
you just let the thoughts come and, like,
Well, it's not necessarily about thoughts. When I think about processing, I'm thinking more emotion.
okay.
So yeah, we're using that word to discuss like processing thought, like we're processing our thoughts right now, right here together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mental. Like we're talking about ideas. We're not like deep in our feelings about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I say process, I'm talking about processing grief, which is emotional work.
And what does that look like?
It looks like taking the time. For me, it's passive. It is very passive. That's why I really appreciate this question, because it urges me to be more conscientious about like, oh, I could be more proactive about this. Like, you know, there's certain medicines that I indulge in, you know, that help me create space for feeling my feelings. So that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I could do that without the medicine as well, you know? Like I could just take time to sit with myself. I mean, meditation is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is a part of that. Like the spiritual hygiene is definitely a part of processing. But yeah, I don't have like a super proactive way of, okay, I'm going to tend to my grief right now. It's just like I'm driving and a song hits me and I allow myself to like release the feeling, you know, or I go on a hike and I'm, you know what I mean? I just take space and time. It's the time component where I feel like I could be deeper into the space component. And I take space for, again, like there's certain things that I have developed a facilitation for a ritual around, you know, getting deep in a medicinal experience and allowing that to be a solo time for me to process feelings. That's been one of the primary ways that I've broken through like emotional shells and like rigidity, emotional rigidity, stagnation in that way is through like medicine.
Time in nature could also be medicine. Like literally just
Absolutely.
shifting your environment.
Yeah. That's why travel is actually really kind of in line with this conversation, because like I've found literally just driving on the highway for more than a trip back home. Like, you know, I remember driving to Chicago to get the rest of my things when right after graduation or whatever. I was living with my cousins at the time and I was driving from Cincy, and I think the medicines of choice on that trip were coffee and cannabis, and U2, the unforgettable fire. It's true though, man. That first song, I just like got into
It was on repeat.
No, but it was, I just remember that specifically. I mean, this was 10 years ago or more. And I remember that because there was just something about that music, that combination, that holy trinity for me in that moment of cannabis, coffee, and U2, that just got me in my feelings. And I just felt like I was able to process and like really like release grief in a way. And I was doing a lot of yoga at the time. And I just remember like feeling really loose in my body and just like inspired to keep that going. And like, anyway, blah, 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 blah. But there's something about being on the open road and like, especially by myself, that I feel like it's what you're saying. It's a change in environment, you know. If I only ever allow myself to be in this one particular cage, my thoughts are going to be ricocheting and reverberating, if you will. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing the same stuff. It's reminding me of the same things and people, and you know, our habitual energy. You know, like we talk about our different aspects of self. You know, our emotional self, our spirit self, or astral self, like the different bodies. I feel like one of them is like the habitual body. You know, it's this ghost of like the groove that I've set in this space, and when I enter this space, like that ghost possesses me, and I'm doing the same dumb stuff that I always do because it's just autopilot, you know. So anyway, that long-winded thing was to highlight what you said. It's the change in environment and like traveling to and being in a different city. Different thoughts, different feelings, different people, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it's so big.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about solo travel, though? Because you've done mostly, like, traveling with Lily and
Been
with
mostly
squads, right?
like group travel. Like, a lot of stuff with work is, like, with at least 2 or 3 people at the minimum.
Have you done a solo trip?
No, I got one coming up, dude.
Okay.
At the end of August, going to Germany, and then I'm fucking going to see my buddy Lucas in Switzerland.
Nice, dude.
Which
on that same trip?
I used to work with him. Yep, same trip. I'm like, it's like pretty cheap to get a plane ride from Berlin to Zurich. So, and he's like, dude, come out here and stay with me. So, yeah, I'm gonna go check out Zurich and stay with him for a little bit, and then fly home. So, and this one, the only reason why I brought that up is because this one is the first trip ever internationally that I'm doing it by myself. I'm planning everything. I'm finding things that I'm interested in that I want to go do, which is huge. Yeah. Because usually I'm kind of go with the flow. Like, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. True. I'm down to do whatever. Yeah. So this one will be more of like, what does Steven want to do? Yeah, man. And it's kind of a cool vibe. I mean, we'll see what happens, really. I'll be stoked. So. Well,
what inspired this trip? It's not a work trip?
It is a work trip.
Oh, it is a work trip. Okay, then why is it just you then?
Usually we do group trips, but they're trying to change things up a little bit and like
send a scouting mission?
Basically. There's an art festival over there, and they're like, we want you, it's a 2-day art festival. And there's speakers, and there's like...
You are on that dream job lifestyle right
it's
now,
insane,
bro. That's
bro.
So cool.
It's insane, dude.
So cool.
But yeah, basically it's going to be very, 2025 graphics and what's relevant and what, like, just design wise, what is like trending, so to speak. So it's like very work driven. Like, I'm going to, take a bunch of pictures and see what, like, share what I saw. Yeah. So
there's something beautiful about that. It is a work mission though, because that gives you a quest. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like when I was in New Orleans solo, it was like, my only real quest was like, I just wanted to busk, but all I had was the ukulele. I didn't have a mic or an amplifier, and I love the uke. It's a nice travel instrument, but it's not my it's not my like main expression, You
have a lot more stuff on the acoustic than you do on a...
I mean, tons more. Yeah. Like basically all of my original stuff as well. You know what I mean? I have like 2 ukulele songs that are originals. Anyway, 3. But, yeah, so it's like I'm looking for a spot to like set up or whatever, but like it wasn't anything like too deep. So that's nice that you have like a specific like purpose, goals, and then it's like, okay, you'll meet some cats along the way, but it won't be just like, the difference is, imagine you pop in at a festival or worst case scenario would be like popping in at a bar by yourself or something. Like, be a different vibe, right?
It would be a different vibe for sure.
Have you ever done that? Gone to a bar by yourself?
No. I've gone to shows by myself though.
I have. Yeah, that's true.
Have you been to the bar by yourself? That's probably like...
I have, but not in like a social way, just in like a stop in before going somewhere else and like doing some journaling or something or like some things like that,
I feel like if I did that, I would immediately be looking for someone that I recognize to like talk to.
Yeah.
but maybe that's just like an uncomfortability that I have with like maybe being alone and like just
Right.
be like, where do I go? Like, where do I sit? Like, what do I do? Like, I don't have anyone to talk to. Like, why am I in this
Exactly.
space?
So then it would necessarily be that you're kind of there to meet people, strangers, you know, and whatever. Which I feel like fairly safe to speak for both of us here, but correct me when I'm wrong. I feel like we're the people that tend to like attract people to us rather than like go out of our way to like make friends out of strangers.
Like, I'm not gonna go up to a random group and be
Yeah.
like, hey, actually,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Is it?
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if it's like, you know, let's say, I don't know, I go outside and like people are, I don't know where I'm going with this,
No,
but yeah.
I
I
was
feel
just
like-
curious because I mean, yeah, like I mean, we went to grade school together, so I didn't, you know, even in high school, like I wasn't seeing the way that you were socializing, and we were in a tiny little social pool, so we were, you know, I mean, the two of the four cool people in the class, so like, of course we're gonna be friends.
Yeah,
I'm
true.
just joking, but
That's hilarious.
who were the other two people? No, we actually had a sick squad. But anyway, yeah, I was just curious because yeah, it's funny to know how people socialize. You know, like I very much am like have just attracted really cool people into my life and not had to work too hard for the friendships that I have. And
All through music and art,
I guess so.
mostly.
I guess
right?
so. Yeah, mostly.
I mean,
That's a good
honestly, this
point.
home base that you
It's a really good
have,
point.
like, what you said about like, it's nice you have home base. You can go travel and you can come back and you know this friend group. Maybe it'll look a little different, but
Right.
you have these people to reconnect with. And I feel that way right now. Like every time I come home, I really much look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
And I'm not like super connected to the people you live with, but I know them and like it's, you know, it's happy to catch up with them as well.
Right. It's good vibes.
It's good vibes. So it's nice to have that. Like, I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well, I think it's nice too because then you can like ground in for certain events and things. Like I feel like there's something to be said for like creating a network that extends beyond just the hometown, you know? Like I'll be honest, there's a tiny bit of me that feels ashamed that I'm still living in my hometown. You know, especially as like a 30-something who's like not currently like, you know, in a partnership or building a family or doing something that requires that level of I don't mean to say stability, but grounded.
what would be different if you were in a
Stability.
different place?
A different
If you're a different
city.
environment or city?
What would be different?
Yeah.
That pool would be different. That I would have access to a different level of culture. You know, even though, as I spoke, like Cincinnati does have a cool culture. I think Cincinnati's actually a pretty cool city. Maybe that's just to say that most cities are cool. That people are actually cool if you allow them to be, and find the people that you resonate with. Like, of course, I believe that exists everywhere. You know. I mean, some of my best friends that I met in Chicago, they grew up in super small little towns, you know, but they found each other and they had friends there that were like cool people, you know. All of us may be, you know, resonating at different levels with our old school connections. I mean, that's what's so cool about you and my friendship is that like we really can like lock in and like just, you know, time goes by, but whenever we do hang out, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
and it's been really sweet, like lately, that we've been getting close or more consistent with our
Totally.
communication as well. That's been really valuable and really cool. And it's just funny because I'll say that to some people, like, "Oh yeah, my homie from grade school is coming," and they're like, "Oh, dude, like
They don't.
see anyone from like school or whatever, like especially grade school or whatever." I don't remember who
Whoa.
was saying that to me, but
That's kind of shocking to me.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I've talked about this with other people, maybe not necessarily grade school, but in my adult life, I feel like I have not gotten to a core level of friendship with someone like I have with grade school homies. Specifically you, I'm trying to think who else, and a couple people in high school, but honestly, like, I don't even really talk to them that much, but there's a vulnerability and like an openness when you're a kid, when you're meeting someone without like any judgment. And as you become an adult and you're especially outside of school,
right,
it's like harder to get to that deep bond. Maybe it just comes with time too. And you are forced with time when you're in 3rd grade and you graduate in 8th grade. That's some automatic 5 years of every day, 5 days a week in the classroom.
right.
So you're forced to be
It's a lot of time.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think it also has to do
No,
with
you're onto
coming from a
something.
place of like being a
Innocence.
child. Yes.
Yeah. And there's like a desire to connect in a way that's just more pure and innocent. There's no like ulterior motive. I'm not trying to get anything from you. Transactional. Or
it's like I just like hanging with Sean.
Yeah, literally.
I don't want to like drink his Mountain Dews.
Right. Yeah. Nah, man, totally. There's not this
That's
like,
funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just such a cool thing to bring up, man, because it's just making me think, like, okay, how can we tap back into that spirit?
I agree.
You know, how can we tap back into? And I was speaking to someone about this earlier today. I don't know why I always do this. Like, I don't know why I don't just say the thing. I always have to like preface as well. I was saying this with so and so, or like we talked about this earlier. I think it's just like a weird fucking like.
Oh, it's just like it lets your brain compute.
It is. That's what I was gonna say. It's like just a little buffer zone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But I was talking to someone about. I forgot what I was even gonna say. What were we talking about? Bring me back.
Just core homies. Like, how do you get to this point in adult, like where you can make a friend?
Oh, vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about practicing vulnerability.
Okay.
And I think that's a big part of it, you know, because it's true. I mean, and also we're glazing past the aspect that we're adults and we all have so much more responsibilities, so less socializing time and things like that.
True.
And like, so that ends up being, okay, what's the motivating factor to socialize? For a lot of people, it's like, well, I'm looking for a partner. One way or another, creative, romantic, whatever it is. It's like searching for people to fill specific roles. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Versus like, I'm just looking for connection, period. I just need more friends, you know? And maybe some of us think, oh, I have enough friends. But like, I think people can always use like more connection.
Different connections.
Exactly. Yeah. Different flavors, you know, like eat the rainbow of your diet and your friend group. You know what I mean? Like diversity in that way is so like enriching. Mm-hmm. You know, to hear different stories and different perspectives from different people, and like, especially when it's people you don't necessarily fully agree with. You know, I mean, I think that's why you and I have an easy friendship, because a lot of times like we are like kind of on the same page about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so we get to like gas each other up. We're not like, it's not a debate.
Not a challenging.
Yeah, it's
combo.
not a competition or a challenge or like anything like that. So anyway, I think the vulnerability component, but then the other component is like the deprogramming around our judgments of people, and like putting too much into our first impressions and our impressions of people. I think there's something to be said about that.
Agreed.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. I'll think about this. You're in 3rd grade. There's a group of girls chilling. You don't know anyone. You sit down with them. You guys are homies. It's not like, oh my God, is this guy trying to hit on me?
Right.
It's like he just wants to, like, he doesn't have anyone to hang out with.
Yeah.
You're at a bar. You're 30 years old. There's a group of girls. I don't know anyone. If I went to that group of girls, they would think I'm
100%.
probably trying to hit on them.
And they might be into that. They might not be.
Exactly.
But
there's
100%.
already some weird preconceived notion.
That has almost nothing to do with our vibe as an individual. It's just the collective zeitgeist of what it means for a man to walk up to a woman, or even vice versa, you know,
totally.
Whatever, you know, and the bar culture as well. Yeah. And there's ways of like, not dismantling, what's the word? Diffusing that, jump to that assumption. Do you know what I mean? Like there's ways of diffusing that a bit. But yeah, anyway, you know, we were talking earlier about like having friends that are like cuddle buddies. Like I feel like that's a role that most people don't even recognize, that that's an empty role in their team, you know, is like people that we share nurturing touch. You know, I'm talking hugs that last for more than 3 seconds. I'm talking, you know, watching a movie and not being afraid of your body's touching, you know, just getting comfy like people do with their dog or their cat, or like, you know what I mean? Like, why is it cool for my cat to jump up in my lap, but it'd be weird for me to jump in your lap? You know what I mean? Like,
So
it sounds
true.
silly and like almost weirdly awkward, because our culture is so awkward about touch, and we've created such a taboo around that. You know, funny flashback to a year ago, Autumn and I were sitting in these same chairs having a very similar conversation because she's a nurturing touch practitioner, and this is very much her language and a big thing that she's inspired in me, you know. But yeah, that's another huge aspect of
It
like
feels so-
socializing and connecting that I think gets not necessarily glossed over. Yes, glossed over, but more so gets conflated with sexuality and romance. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I was
So-
going to say, honestly, until you told me that that was even a thing, I had never really considered that, like platonic cuddling,
Yeah.
or just the fact that, like, as humans, think about like a child being like coddled by their mom. Like, there is like a healing thing about that, and we like grow up and we don't really do that unless
No.
it's with a romantic partner, and maybe it's not even just for cuddling, it's for what other things.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like
Which is still access to that like hormonal exchange of oxytocin and whatever the other transmitters are that have that feel good
Totally.
serotonin, you know. And it's like, okay, no wonder people like get so relieved when they eat a mushroom that gives them some serotonin, or, you know, lick some MDMA and it gives them some like serotonin and
Yeah.
oxytocin and whatever else. Like, no wonder those feel like such relieving medicines. If we were already like totally tapping into that inner reservoir of feeling good and content, then those medicines wouldn't even affect us. Just in the same way that like Ram Dass gives his guru LSD and he like barely even noticed it because he was already wide open. You know what I mean?
Dude, I think about, again, back to being kids, like if you're on, you know, at the lunch table and you're sitting with a group of people, like if my arms are like brushing against a girl at age, like in the 3rd grade, I'm not thinking about that at all. I'm like, we're just
I would have
homies.
been.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was just a very shy, constricted person. You know, even at
Okay,
that
well then
age, but
shit.
yeah.
What I was saying doesn't make sense.
I remember the first time I touched my crush in grade school that ended up being my first girlfriend. I just like touched her arm like in gym. And I remember that like standing out. Like here I am 20 some odd years later, like recalling that because it
Okay,
was-
maybe we need to go further back then.
Okay.
Kindergarten.
Sure. Yeah, I mean you like
Before-
hold hands while you do the little
before
songs.
There are these programmings of what boyfriend and girlfriend
Okay,
mean.
sure.
To where now it's like I was on this float, like in a raft, and like we had a group, we were all tied together, and I'm in my swim trunks, and there's another homie with his swim trunks, another guy, and like we got contorted in a way where we're like basically 3 of us in a circle and our legs are in the center, and it felt awkward because it's like our legs are like kind of touching, and it's like it didn't matter, but it felt like, oh, I can't do that. Like,
Yeah, it's just not socially.
it's like immediately supposed to be sexual or like something.
Yeah. It's like no like sane person would actually conflate like, oh, your knee brushed up against mine as like sexual. But it's just
attracted
the
to me.
fact that this dude needs to settle down his flirt game.
Yeah.
Because those knees, oh boy, you gotta cover those up. You know, it's just that physical touch in general is like very much reserved towards the sexual space or like a familial sense. You know, that's the other way. It's like the only other way that we'll touch a human is if we birth them ourselves. You know. Anyway,
Yeah, trying to break that wall down to where it's more normalized that, hey, like tell your homies you love them, and tell them, like, give them good hugs, and not be so like, I don't know, we're like shutting off a healing thing.
Yeah. Just ignorance to it, you know, as well, you know. And I don't know where this came from. If it was some puritanical thing, I have no idea where that little demon birthed itself in our culture, but, you know, certainly was not like that for the massive majority of human history, right? Because, you know, take it back to not even just like the family level of like swaddling a baby and whatever else and breastfeeding and things like that, you know, just like very natural like connection of bodies, you know, out of necessity, out of survival, right? We'll take it back even further before we had these little industrialized cages we were going to be huddling and cuddling together to stay warm in the winter. We were going to be, all of this. Like, we are animals, just in the same way that, like, a pack of dogs is also going to, like, snuggling together, a bunch of cats, whatever. Right. Okay. Don't need to list every animal, but, like, this is what animals do in nature,
Yeah.
Because, like, also they're connected. There's also this idea of, not an idea, there's this reality that species are like this hive mind. Like, and I think most animals are on that vibe of, I'm not just a cat roaming the world, trying to be the coolest cat in the club, I'm a part of this pack, and we go do this thing. Maybe cats were a bad example because I don't think they're pack animals, but whatever.
I know what you mean.
We are so in our egos.
It's not competitive. It's like we're just being together.
Yeah, and it's also we're serving the community. Like bees are just usually the best example of this. The hive mind, literally, where it's like they're different aspects of one consciousness. They're literally working together. They're maybe communicating on some level that we don't understand, but as you and I are communicating on levels that we don't understand as well, So what I'm getting at is I think that we are so distracted and imprisoned by our own egos, our own sense of individuality, which isn't to say that that's not a valuable aspect of being human, but it's not the whole thing. Just in the same way that my mind is like brilliant in certain ways and like really valuable and capable in certain ways, it still shouldn't be manning the station of my decision making at all times, because that's not its job. That's not the best thing that's not the thing that it can do best. That's not its strength. The ego's strength is to keep us safe. Its strength should not be now it's the only thing we serve, right? Does that translate? You know what I'm getting at?
Kind of.
I think part of the ego, so if I didn't think of myself as an individual ego, then it would be just so much more natural for me to serve the community through physical means, through, I wouldn't feel like I need to just protect my little body. It would be that we would just be in service of this hive mind of the human collective, We would all be doing what would be best for humans, But ego has just perverted what it means to be human. Now we have all these, different cultures and different families and different individuals, and we're more at least in Western culture, we tend to be more concerned with protecting the individual body versus protecting the collective,
Yeah.
Which is why we have egomaniacs like manning the stations of governments and things. Like they have almost no concern for serving a collective, you know what I mean? They're just serving this like thirst for power and whatever else and aggrandizement and those things. But talk to me about what you're thinking. It seemed like I lost you a bit.
Yeah,
where did
I was
lose
trying
you?
to like part of me was trying to like something that we were talking about earlier. Was it about like kind of envisioning this form of yourself in the sense of like, what does the version of me that is like not afraid to go up to these groups of people and to like, let's say there's a group of girls and you're not trying to hit on it. What does the version of me look like where I'm like, I'm literally just trying to connect. I'm just trying to like talk to people. What does that look like? What does that feel like?
Yeah.
And just like kind of try to program the mind into, I mean, not literally like make that scenario happen, but prep the mind in terms of like, this scenario could happen and how do I show up in the way that I want to? And you're like almost training your mind to, I'm losing.
Well, it's a bit of a rehearsal as well, and I was talking with someone earlier about how when people say things that feel inappropriate, I don't feel like I have rehearsed in myself or practiced what I would say in a moment where someone says something off color, say it's sexist or something. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like that's inappropriate and that makes me feel a certain way that I lose a bit of trust or respect for this person in a micro or major way, depending, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't feel confident to speak on that in the moment. It's because I haven't rehearsed that. I don't know what I would say. So I don't necessarily trust that the knee-jerk reaction of whatever, I would say I don't know that would be a safe
Well
thing to
thought.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well received. Or well expressed. So this is just kind of an arbitrary example of what you're speaking on, that like it's helpful to maybe not rehearse necessarily specifics, but maybe it is, depending on our personality type, depending on how deep we need to get into this experience. For me, just feeling the confidence, practicing the confidence, feeling the wish fulfilled, as Neville Goddard puts it, feeling the gratitude that what I want is already here. That's been my practice of that. But
I love that.
I love the idea of what you were presenting earlier about like creating specific things to bring about, you know. I can't remember what the example you were using, but I mean in this one of going up and approaching strangers who we may be attracted to on a friend level, on a creative level, on a energetic level, you know. Sometimes people just spark this chemistry because there's something that we could create together. And I think a lot of times that, especially when we're dealing with people that we're attracted to, you know, generally speaking, a lot of times that spark of recognition, that spark of intuition that we could create something cool together. That's so often, if it's someone that I find attractive, it's so often that we will conflate that spark of recognition with with sexual attraction, you know? And like, oh, I have a crush on this person or whatever. And it's like, maybe you actually just want to like collaborate on a song or a podcast or whatever it is that you create. Maybe it's just a conversation between the two of you that really like hits a lot of things, and you both learn from each other and like really create this like soul encounter. And that's all it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, but you got yourself all on a tizzy because you're like, I got a
Well,
crush,
it's not
you
very
know?
common to like find, like, you think that electricity is like automatically means, oh, this is supposed to
Yeah.
be like a relationship,
Right.
or like a romantic relationship, instead of being like, oh yeah, like, no, we just vibe, and like we're supposed to co-create together. It doesn't mean we need to, you know, be partners, like
Right.
romantic partners. So
Well, people forget that there are other forms of creativity besides making babies. And also people forget that attraction is to make babies. You know what I mean? Like physical attraction, if we're feeling romantically attracted by people, that's our hormones trying to keep the human species alive, you know? And it's like, okay, so let's get like really real with ourselves. Like, what impulses do I want to feed? Like, which ones are valuable to my mission, to my purpose on earth, you know? What is in alignment with my vision? If I don't want to bring about children, maybe I should really be conscientious about who I decide to be romantically involved with and to what degree, you know, rather than just letting the body go and drive the ship, because the heart maybe doesn't need to be steering the ship at all times either. You know what I mean? Like,
are you saying that like maybe you don't want kids and your body is telling, oh man, I find this person attractive, and you hook up, you could find yourself having kids with this person and that wasn't part of your vision at all.
right.
And now your whole situation has been not derailed, but it has definitely been pushed into a new direction that maybe is not really in alignment with what you want.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'm saying, like, yeah, exactly. Being conscientious of what motivators are we going to allow for ourselves, you know? Because like our body is motivated by pleasure, you know, where so many of us are motivated to check our phone because we might get a tiny little ping of like, someone likes me, you know, I have attention, you know, whatever. Many people are motivated by other feel-good things, you know, like alcohol and sugar and caffeine and all these things that are just easy things to get motivated by, you know.
Totally.
But do we consent to that? Are we going to let the body drive the ship at all times? Are we going to let the biology drive the ship at all times? You know, I'm just kind of posing that as a question. I'm not offering like necessarily like a
it's a good reflection, honestly.
strategy necessarily. Yeah, it's kind of just coming up for me in this conversation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, is something that we've been talking about quite a bit recently, is just, again, I don't know how much is going to make it in this podcast, but like, I know this is a safe space, but this is like from like you to me, like, I feel like we've been talking about this quite a bit, and it really, you've said this, is like, I'm really like trying to be conscientious with like who I'm like getting intimate with. And
Yeah.
maybe that's a part of it, because it's like, yeah, what happens if this person did get pregnant? Do I want kids with this person? Am I just like, wow, it'd be nice to hook up with them because it would feel good, and
Yeah.
like we bond in that way, but like, do we share the same vision? I feel like someone that you're gonna have kids with, you have to have pretty good alignment in terms of a future if you want to be building the family
Something
dynamic with.
solid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, otherwise it gets really, I feel like, complicated and tricky and juggling time. And so, yeah, I think kind of what you said is spot on, because the primal instinct in us is like, oh, wow, this person, there's a lot of chemistry here. I want to hook up with this person. But like, what would happen if something, you know, that was not part of the vision happened with this person? Is this worth my time?
Right. And how can I navigate in a way that is going to be respectful of all things considered? You know, each other's desires from each other, desires for pleasure and connection, as well as desires for future endeavors, you know, and to like juggle those things in a way that feels appropriate and in a way that each person has capacity for. You know, and that's where you find out about alignment and compatibility, is when those things line up and when they don't. You know, and a lot of times we find ourselves confronted with red flags that we may choose to ignore because of the rationalizing a good time over a healthy time, right?
Yeah.
Essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and healthy can be good too. Healthy can feel great, you know? But it's a slow burn, and it's not what we're trained about. We're trained by advertisements and all the drug food industries to prioritize instant gratification, not the long game. So, yeah.
Damn, I feel like there's something there for sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
Something we'll both need to reflect on for sure. But yeah, man, I like what we were talking about earlier today about spending the last few moments before going to sleep visualizing exactly what you're talking about, like practicing, doing that rehearsal, whatever that looks like for you. Do you find you're more of a visual person, or more of like, which one resonates more, like visualizing yourself, like literally seeing yourself in environments that you want to be in and what that would look like, or more so the feeling of it?
I think I am a visual person.
I thought maybe that was the
yeah,
case,
like I can kind of like try and visualize, like, what does it look like? What does the routine look like? Like, what is this person doing? And again, this is through the context of like wherever I like want to like kind of get in alignment with, like literally try and visualize, like what does Steven do that he's more confident, like that he's capable to do this. And you are kind of wiring the brain, so to speak, to get in alignment with that vision.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that's really powerful too is the things that you say out loud about yourself are really powerful, dude. Just as powerful as the positive visions that you have.
If not more.
So like if you're telling yourself, oh, fuck me, or, you know, just saying negative things about yourself, like, dude, you are you're training your brain.
Casting that into the algorithm of the universe. You know, it's like if you see a meme online, it says, you suck, and you're just sending that a heart every day, multiple times a day. The algorithm's going to show you more of that meme, more of that content, more of that energy. Right?
Yes, that's a really wild way to think about it. Yeah, almost like the universe is a program of algorithms.
It is. Oh, it is. Where does the algorithm come from?
And
the universe.
So, like, the more you kind of get yourself in alignment with where you want to go, the more chances that is going to feed in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was talking to my therapist about this specific thing about, I don't even know what we want to call it, but visualization.
Yeah.
And she said it's so powerful. Like, she wants to sell her house. And she's like, I need to, you know, I need to sell my house, and I like really want to move to this place, and like kind of doing the same steps. Like, what would it look like? Like, what would it look like to sell my house? What would it look like to live in Vermont? And like get into that feeling of like, you know, not get into the details of like, yes, my house is brown and but like what
unless
is
you're
the
inspired
feeling?
by details in that way. Some
True.
people are, but I see what you mean. For me,
And
not so.
literally within a couple weeks, she made like a Etsy purchase or something. And this person was like, hey, like, I don't know if this is up your alley, but I'm also a real estate agent, and like, you know, if you're ever looking to sell your house, like it was like the way she described it was so odd that like it was something she had been thinking about, and the universe, in the most random way possible, threw it into her life. Like the door came open.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it's so beautiful. Like, you know, you get into alignment. Let's say it's a partnership, but like whatever, like just like you never know when that opportunity is going to come. But if you're living in this state of lack, of like constantly, maybe even like on the dating apps and just like constantly just feeling like, I don't have anyone, blah, blah, blah. Like just instead of like focusing on yourself, just take a walk to the park. You might fucking, who knows?
As well as the personal hygiene of it all too, because when you say lack mentality, like that makes me feel like, okay, if you're wanting something so bad, say it shows up, are you even ready for that?
Yes.
Because if you're just in this desperation energy of like, I'm incomplete and I need someone to see how great I am, it's like, well, it doesn't sound like you're even being that great.
Yeah.
Why don't you just focus on being great,
like,
and feeling
what
great?
would the great version of you be doing?
Yeah. Exactly.
What would they feel
Sitting
like?
on the phone looking for someone great?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
I don't know that would be that attractive to me, to like, you know, that my ideal partner would be like sitting around waiting for me.
Yeah.
You know, so why am I sitting around waiting for them?
Dude.
I'm not. I mean, you know.
Honestly, I love that.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like, I feel like really trying to get into the vision of, you know, what is the vision and what does that look like? And again, you don't have to get caught up in the details of what things specifically, color and the size and all that, but what would it feel like to have this new house? Like, it'd feel great, right? Mm-hmm. I have space, I have a place to garden, I have, you know, beautiful view. Like,
give me some details.
Just vague stuff that like you're kind of wiring the brain to subconsciously bring in.
Just like we're doing, as you said, all the time with all of our thoughts. So if we have those negative thoughts, you know, me and Lucas call them, or I got this from Lucas. My contribution was the next part. He calls them dead thoughts. I said, let's throw them into the compost. You know, and it's just like, you just got to flush that energy. You don't have to demonize. It's not like, I'm bad. These are bad thoughts. They're just dead. Throw them in the compost. We're going to stir that shit up, and then some flowers are going to grow out of it.
Dude, actually,
I
love that. And another thing this woman was teaching me was like, you know, it's very easy to be, you know, ruminating on the same thought. And like we've talked specifically about the situation of like a breakup, and it's on your mind a lot. How do you get out of that where it's taking up so much real estate? You have two options. One, find a better feeling. There's a lot of positive things going on. Could be something as simple as like, man, I'm so grateful I have Mowgli, my dog. I'm so grateful I have this space. If you really can't get there though, change your environment. Go for a walk. You have to literally, you know, you can sit in your wherever the space is and mull over the same thing. If you're not getting anywhere and you can't find a better thought, you have to go take a walk.
Just like you said earlier,
because those dead thoughts, you don't need that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right. And it's easier to witness the dead thoughts when you're in an environment that's fresh. When you're getting that fresh air, you know, and the meditation we started with, I mentioned like extend your antenna into the ether.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't really actually go much further than the ceiling, you know, like I can with my imagination, but I can't see the sky from where I'm sitting, you know, and in a sort of weird esoteric thought train, I do feel like our thoughts are influenced by our environment, literally, you know, and when I go outside, I have fresher thoughts. You know, the air is fresher. I'm bringing in different qualities of vitality, which is going to metabolize in my brain in different ways as well, you know? And there's something about, like I said, driving on the open road, I feel so much more access to new thoughts.
Do you think the thought patterns, like let's say your bedroom, will be within a certain set of probably cyclical thought patterns?
Yeah, exactly. It's more habitual energy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which can be good if we
It's
set ourselves up
fine.
for success.
For sure.
You know, we can use that structure in our favor as well.
But diversity is
in this
key.
house, I'm throwing away dead thoughts. In this house, I'm creating affirmations and mantras. Like, it can totally be used to our benefit as
A
well.
safe space, yeah.
Safe space, yeah. A nurturing space, you know, even. I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to kind of say. Oh, just because you mentioned the details, and I just wanted to mention that other thing about, like, because my habit lately is just to keep it ambiguous, you know, just gratitude, which is really what you're saying. Like, find a better feeling, gratitude. That's the better
Absolutely.
feeling. And that's kind of what I've like come to is like, wait, gratitude's the only thing I'm really ever, not ever, but you know, that's like such a primary feeling. Like compassion and gratitude, those are like two like cheat codes
They are.
for spirituality.
Dude,
you
how
know,
often-
for feeling inspired.
I think we talked about this. Have you ever like done the like gratitude journal or like just
A
kind of
bit.
listed? Dude, it's similar to this in that the more you do it, the more you realize how many things are going right. Like it's really easy to attach to like, oh well, I spilled my whatever negative thing. But
Yeah.
if you realize how many things are actually going right,
Dang, I had
your
coffee.
brain starts to your brain starts to see more of that.
Not even just in the past, but it also primes your brain like an algorithm to now I'm going to create better experiences for myself, you know, because I feel like that's what's happening in life is that our subconsciousness is writing the script of what shows up in the movie of our life. And we all have our own movie. We're all in our own dreamscape, our own personal matrix, you know, and it's being fed by the media we consume, the conversations we consume and create. All of the things are giving little bits of data, and we charge the ones that feel emotionally significant. So there's so much happening. Even in this room right now, we have all of the angels and all of the aliens are right here present with us. We just may not be tuned in. I know I just took it to that level.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? On some level, that's true. Like scientifically, we recognize that the universe could be condensed into a tiny little particle that's smaller than, you know, whatever. Like that time is an illusion and space is an illusion. These are experiences. My point being that we have so much bits of data that on a subconscious level we could be processing, but we only really give weight to the ones that have emotional charge. So our traumas are really significant, you know, our huge moments of joy are really significant. Like those create a lot of gravity in our psyche. And so those things are going to regurgitate in our algorithm. You know, we need to process the grief of our trauma. So on some level, our subconsciousness is going to keep feeding that algorithm with things that reflect that wound. We're going to keep attracting partners that remind us of ways of healing, you know, which can be a really fruitful process if we go into that consciously. A lot of times we don't, which is where we get sticky and stuck or in a loop because we may spend years in a certain relationship dynamic and think we can get out of it, and then when we sign up for another one, it's actually the same energy, just different actors, you know. So all of this to say, like, you know, the more we can conscientiously write our own script through our intention and our focus, right?
Yeah, is what are you feeding the subconscious?
Yeah, how are you feeding the algorithm? Yeah, exactly. And bringing the subconscious into the conscious, like that's what we're doing with the processing
Okay, so
of
yeah,
thoughts and feelings.
to
We're bringing
bring it
that
back to, like,
subconscious
visioning,
into conscious. Yeah.
Totally. So at night, I mean, that's a very powerful time to do this too,
Yes,
correct? It's
yes.
like you're laying in bed and you like run me through what would this look like?
Well, you're about to dive soul first into the unconsciousness and the subconsciousness when you fall asleep and you start dreaming. So the last thing we do at night, we're planting little seeds for our dreams while we're sleeping, and then the dreams that awaken as our body comes back online. You know, so yeah, I think that it could be so simple as just practicing gratitude. You could have a gratitude journal at the end of the
Okay.
day. Just write down 3 to 5 things. You know?
Sure.
That could be easy mode. That's all you got to do. You know, medium mode would be maybe more so thinking, okay, what do I want to do tomorrow? What are my goals? Like, who do I want to be tomorrow? All right, there's medium mode. And just to whatever degree, like you could visualize it, I could feel it, whatever works.
Yeah.
You know? Hard mode would be, I don't know, what would be more of a, how, just being really conscientious, I guess, about the long term. Like, how am I investing in my mission and my purpose of life? And I'm not going to act like I am super clear on that at this particular moment. I don't know how many people are, right? But yeah, just taking it to that broad scale and like really rehearsing a specific thing, perhaps. Like, I got this show coming up, like I really want it to go well. Let me rehearse, like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to stay in my comfort zone. I'm going to go talk to some strangers. I'm going to get some stickers. I'm going to, you know, do this thing. Like, rehearse that. How would that feel? Like,
Totally.
because otherwise you're going to show up and your nervous system is going to start driving the ship because I'll speak for myself. I'll use that example. I'm at the show. I'm in my comfort zone. We got the things. I just played a great set. I got a couple more coming. I'm on break. I could go out and talk to every person that's sitting there if I wanted to. I don't talk to any of them unless they're a friend. You know what I mean?
Why?
Because if I go up to a table, I don't know what I'm gonna say. My nervous system is gonna tell me I'm not safe because I don't know these people. Stranger danger. They think you're a freak. All the dead thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Just like, they think you're gonna sell them something. It's
Yep.
just a different role. You know, I'm comfortable in this role of yapping to my friends. I'm comfortable in the role of singing a little song, doing a little dance. But when it comes to like, hey, I'm someone valuable. Your life would be more valuable if you take this little sticker and you tune into the things that the value that I'm creating. I could create. Oh my God! Even just saying that out loud, it feels silly.
Yeah.
Like I believe it, but my nervous system doesn't, or something like that. You know what I mean? So practicing like, oh no, actually I'm gonna feel confident. We're gonna both smile. They're gonna so appreciate it.
But
they're
dude,
gonna love the things that they find.
Have you ever put yourself in the situation of like the people at the table, and like what does like someone that comes up to the table, someone that you would look up to, and they did this, and you're just so in awe with like how comfortable they are with themselves and how they weren't trying to sell you something, and just like, damn, that guy was fucking cool. Like, have you ever like
So
visualized like what does that person look like? Not necessarily like literally, but like,
No, I know,
like
yeah.
the energy that they're bringing.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing because you're like,
So
man, I
good,
want to
bro.
embody that, and you've made it up in your head what that looks like, but you can start to like honestly bring that into your life, and I think it's pretty powerful.
That is powerful. I so appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, like flip the role like, a little bit.
Because
Like,
when you said that, I immediately thought, oh yeah, I've thought about that. Like someone comes to the table, I'm like, oh, they're trying to sell me something. But no, dude. I mean, I've been at shows where there's like a singer-songwriter. There's one time I was at this spot with my sister, and there's just this lady singing a song, and she comes up, and we were one of the only the few tables there, and she just said hi. Just said, hey, how'd you guys hear about what are you doing tonight? Whatever. I don't know what she said.
Yeah,
but you know, she
but
made
it was neutral.
she made contact, and it was, and I
Totally.
looked up to her on that. I was like, that's really admirable. That's cool.
that's a quality I would
Yeah.
love to also embody.
And I could tell that it took effort from her too. I could tell it wasn't the most like, oh wow, this is just nothing to her. That's why I respected it so much. I could tell she was doing something
It's
that
practice.
like, and it wasn't that she was awkward. It was just that maybe I was projecting as well. I was like, I know that that's not easy to do.
True.
So, but anyway,
Yeah, I think that's really like a good way to like get over that, is to like see it from someone else's perspective, and if you were that person, how would that person show up in a way where you're not thinking they're trying to sell you something. If anything, you're like, wow, that person's like sick. Like I want to, like they just had a good vibe.
Yeah,
and like what does
totally.
that look like?
Totally. Yeah, no, I so appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, man, we better cap this off. I'd like to give an opportunity to have any highlights if there's like something that really stood out. I mean, we just ended it on
That was the highlight.
highlight for real. But if there's anything you didn't get a chance to say or anything at all that you want to throw down.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing that I resonated with was just the power in, even if you don't believe it right now, the like telling yourselves like the visions that you want and saying positive things about what you're trying to get in alignment with. There's a lot of power in like telling your mind that, because it will find alignment, whether it's through the algorithm or however you want to say it. The universe has a beautiful way of bringing into your life, if you are like truly coming from an honest place and it's an attainable goal. And
Right.
yeah, I think there's a lot of power in, before you go to bed, like, man, how do you want to show up tomorrow?
Yeah, I love that. That's
Yeah.
so good.
And what about you? What was like the biggest thing that stood out?
Well, the last thing you just said, I want to comment on briefly about like if it's an attainable goal, because that is kind of like crucial, and that's what this rehearsing process can perhaps help us do, is like make it feel realistic. Because you gave the example earlier today of
I was
like,
gonna
okay,
say
say
this.
you want to have $1 million. Well, that feels so unearthly. Like that's such a specific thing. It just, why not just call it abundance? Because then that can show up in just that, oh, my friend brought me a mango. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go out and buy that mango, but like, dang, that came in clutch. You know, that type of thing.
Instead
like,
of I want $1 million, how about what would it feel like to not have to worry about money? I could take my friends out for dinner. I could buy those pair of shoes or whatever.
yeah, without worrying about it.
Without, like, worrying
Yeah,
about it.
Totally.
And your body and mind will start to align.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I want $1 million. Just think about it long enough and you'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
$1
yeah.
million.
Right.
Like that's not how
meet
you know.
yourself where you are and like really be real about where your nervous system is. You know, I described it like I think pretty clearly. Like my nervous system is just not quite there with like promoting myself or walking up to strangers. Those two things makes me want to freak out. It just makes me want to be avoidant. You know, that's all. Not freak out. I'm not paranoid about it, but it just doesn't feel
It's an
comfy. It
uncomfortable
doesn't
zone.
feel confident at all.
It's funny because you put yourself in that situation so much. Busking, going playing on stage, like a lot.
And it's like I've created a comfort zone about doing the music, but like almost everything around it, you know, the social things around it. Even on stage, like when I'm making the music, am I making eye contact? Like, dude, I'm good about making eye contact when I'm conversing with someone. But something about just staring into the soul of some unsuspected stranger as I'm singing my deepest thoughts, like,
It feels a little
so
vulnerable.
intimate.
Oh yeah,
So vulnerable. Yeah, man.
I bet.
So much so that I just don't. I don't really step up to that plate.
Well, I guess I challenge you to what would it look like? What's the version of Sean that's very comfortable in doing that? Like, I don't know.
God, dude. I mean, I feel emotional just you posing that question. That's definitely something for me to reflect on, process for sure. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
As far as highlights, yeah, I mean, I just love the way we ended it just organically. I'm trying to think if there's anything really. I think the travel component is big. You know, if we
too.
feel like stagnation, you know, if like I don't even think I can have time to think about a thing before I go to sleep. You know, it's just like go camping, like just get outside. Fucking touch some grass, man. Like people say it like a snarky thing. It's great advice.
It's hilarious. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's a basic thing that we've basically eroded because we put all these clothes on and
Got these little foot condoms on and just like all the time and our little rubber wheels on the roads, like we're so ungrounded, you know. So that's something that I am proud to admit that I have been really good about keeping my morning walk
oh cool
daily.
barefoot.
And I take my sandals to the edge of the once I get to that neighborhood where it's more grassy, and I just kick off
That's
the
sweet.
sandals in someone's grass and just go for my walk and
That's
come back
awesome.
and get them. I was walking today and passed a couple people and just gave them the what up, and there was an older lady behind this guy, and she was like, "You don't have any shoes on. You're walking in the grass." And I had headphones on, so I wasn't like
Super tuned in.
super tuned in, but I was just like, "Yeah, it was like, yeah." It was just funny. It was just like, you know, because I feel like slightly what's the word? You know, silly about being seen, like the guy with no shoes on walking in the grass, you know,
Yeah.
next to the sidewalk or whatever. And she was just funny the way she like pointed it out one by. She's like, "You don't have any shoes on. You're walking in the grass." I was like, "Feels good." I feel like she was being sweet about it, but I don't know. Maybe
no. I'm
not.
sure
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was. But
yeah.
how funny we are in a society now
Yeah.
that's like, wait, why isn't he wearing shoes and he's not walking on the concrete?
Yeah. It was
Like-
just funny that she had to point it out. Like, I don't know if she was like inspired or like weirded out, you know, which one it was. It didn't matter. And I was just feeling good enough to just,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's me doing my thing. And it feels good. That's why I do it. You know, I didn't have to say, negative ions, you got to ground, lady. You know? Touch some grass. But like,
Yeah.
anyway, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you.
Likewise,
Thanks.
dude.
Yeah,
Totally.
good times.
More than this experience of form, out of the formless we are born, just to breathe and be. With your palm upon my heart, stroke the spark that speaks on silent